to get a job anytime in the future.
All right,
That's what
folks.
you'll need.
Folks, make sure you switch over to thesportcircus.com and hit the Listen Live button. If you're not already doing it, make sure you switch over. A big thanks for everybody listening in on our current stations, and make sure you tune back in just a few minutes. We'll be right back with more mayhem.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Hey Ryan, do we have any beer in the fridge?
Nah, I thought you got some.
The game starts in 5 minutes.
And you drank the last beer at midnight on Friday.
I wish there was a place that delivered beer.
Yes, I'm Captain Crafted. I'm here to bring you beer. That's Captain, C-R-A-F-T''D. Why? Because there's no E, just a D, as in deliver, because Captain Crafted delivers.
That's right, the Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business with great prices and deliveries of your favorite beer, wine, spirits, water, ice, and mixers. Did I mention their great prices? That's CRAFTDBEER store.com or Fred Crafted Beer Store on Facebook.com. Make it easy. Google Redlands Beer Delivery. Look for Crafted Beer.
Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business, and I'm here to deliver.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that will clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
Hi everybody, Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Alladort, my mortgage man at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early, purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
If you're suffering from aches and pains, it's time to try Arbo Vitae Health and Wellness Dietary Supplement. Arbo Vitae contains pycnogenol, the most powerful, natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant available, which is nature's way to support the immune system. Let Arbo Vitae help your body restore itself today. To order Arbo Vitae online, go to ARBORVITAEUS.com. To order by phone, call 800-570-0433. That number again, 800-570-0433. Arbo Vitae is proud to sponsor Fish Talk Radio. Check out the show on Facebook or visit the Fish Talk website at fishtalkradio.com. The first caller will receive a 30-day supply of Arbo Vitae with no obligation, so call now, 800-570-0433.
Hi everyone, I'm Jingles the Elf. Come on down to the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands this holiday season. Get your chocolates and other delights from C's Candies. You can even get some gourmet ice cream treats at La Michoacana. Moms and grandmas who visit the mall can kick off their elf shoes and relax while getting treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails, and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers that care about you for the holidays. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the Mall with a Heart.
You've tuned in to KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the sports center for college marching bands, where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you. We appreciate all those listening through iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, our website, our blog, watching us on kcaaradio.com, or wherever you are on the interwebs, or if you are riding in your car, low riding on the West Coast, 10:50 a.m., 102.3 FM and 106.5 FM. Thank you, and we appreciate you listening. If you like the broadcast at the end of the show, we appreciate a donation to the network. If you feel so in your heart, of course, just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right, tonight's show is brought to you by Block Band Music and Publishing, SAY Marketing and Promotions, and blockusup.com. We hope you enjoy the show. First, I want to give, again, I have to do this every week, give a shout out to all the people that help to put us in this great platform and donate to our cause. So thank you very much to you. And we welcome you to the 90 Degree Show. Glad to see we are back full strength this week and to see my lovely co-hosts here on the TV. How are y'all doing this evening?
Great. Good.
Thank you for the compliment, Joe. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So I just want to give a shout out to each one of you. I am a little bit under the weather. I feel better, but if I feel or sound a little funny, you have to excuse me. And I'm going to switch it up on you guys, but I want to say hello to the judge that everyone is scared of, my soror. And root to the Reds. Just want to put that out there. Yeah, I was like, we got to represent. How are you doing, Miss Bridget Bell? How are you doing in this show tonight?
I'm doing great, Joe. How y'all doing? I'm glad to be back this week. Thank you for your prayers and for letting me get back on this week. So I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being here. And yes, we were holding you up in prayer last week. Saw on Facebook you were back in Eufaula, Ufeezy. I saw you were back down there.
Back in Eufaula. Not for good times this time. We had death in the family, but we're just glad to be here another week.
Good. And next, I want to give a shout out and of course say hello to my next person, the great, a.k.a. what you know about dial-up connections, a.k.a. Madam C.J. Walker herself, Christy Walker. How you doing in this podcast, Christy?
Don't call me that, but hello.
I was going to try to do some type of Black History female
it's
every week.
It's 2/3 right.
I'm about to say.
2/3 right, yeah. My middle is just not J, but yeah.
But yes, thank you again for being here. And the great, the one and only, owner and founder of Block Band Music and Publishing, Prune Juice himself on the Fifth Quarter Forum, the illustrious Rashad Waters. How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Throw it up. What's happening, Joe? Good to see you and everyone else.
Yeah, man. Glad to see you guys are here. Touching base with you guys. For all the folks that didn't know a dial-up connection, Chrissy told us last week again back in the 90s. See, most folks didn't know this, and I was telling some people last week, they're talking about dial-up. What's that? Dial-up connection.
Oh, we're so old.
So back in the day,
we didn't know what dial-up.
Yeah, they didn't know. Back in the day, I've had some other conversations where I was like, hey, you had to go to a certain building back on Jackson State's campus in the 90s if you wanted to check an email, if you had an email. And they laughed. They were like, what? And it's like, nah, man, we didn't have cell phone. We didn't have none of that stuff. So, so yeah,
I had a big old
dial-up.
back phone about this big.
Yeah. I actually had one in high school, but it was only for emergency because it was real expensive, and it was like a book bag. And it was my parents. I ain't front like it's mine. It was my parents. So it was like, don't get in trouble nowhere. You can call us. But yes, dial-up was the bomb back in the day, and it would tie up your phone lines. So some folks had to buy another phone line just to go on the internet with. But of course, we don't have that issue now. But yes, I thought it was funny when you told that story last week, Christy. So, also too, really quick, someone else asked me about band tapes, and I was kind of dating ourselves. Band tapes was the bomb.
Yes,
See,
they were.
people don't understand that band tapes was the bomb, and you had a VCR.
Come on here, VCR.
And you put it in there.
Story. Oh, I have so many stories through the years of that. Yeah,
so that was the bomb. And then, like, you couldn't necessarily you had to get a band tape. Like, if you got one or if you had a collection, you were like the bomb. Like, you were that man. You were that person. You know what I mean? But
yeah, like in the early days of the Fifth, we had like a band tape trade forum.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And fights would get started because some people would try to take your band tapes home for the Christmas holidays, and you'd be mad.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still got some missing band tapes.
I'm pretty sure Rashad has one of mine.
I don't have it. I don't have any of your band tapes. Why should I have one of your band tapes?
Okay, so let me tell the people that's tuning in. So Rashad and I go way back. Like, I met Rashad when he was still in undergrad or whatever. And remember, you came to the house and we were watching band tapes, and you were like, I gotta take this tape. And it was BET with the bands from '86.
Oh,
BET bands '86.
Because my dad had taped it back in the day, and you took that tape.
See?
Wait a second. Hang on. We're gonna see.
Christy is big time mad.
See?
That's funny.
That was serious.
I got heated. Let me bring it back.
That's what I was trying to explain. That's what I was trying to explain to a lot of the people still in the band, Jackson State, or just the young folks. It's like, man, that band tapes was serious, man. Like, because I know a couple times I tried to go somewhere and someone would have my tape. I'm like, man, I'm trying to show some folks the band. You know what I'm saying? You got my tape, man. You need to bring it over. And he's like, all right, bro, I'm sorry, man. You know what I'm saying?
I was telling somebody else about how on trips we used to watch band tapes on trips, and like but nobody. I mean, there's no need anymore. Like, you can just watch it, on your phone or on your hand. But I mean, nobody watches band tapes anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got this tape from 1997. I don't know whose tape this is.
There it is, y'all. That's a good one.
Hold it up closer. I gotta see what
it says. Halftime highlights. Hold up. Halftime highlights. 1997-98.
You know what? Who made that? That looks familiar, though. That actually looks familiar.
Whoever it is, I got your tape.
Well, and shout out to the people that made the tapes.
Christy, I don't have none of your tapes, not that I know of. I mean, we've been on each other all this long, and you gonna wait till we get on national TV before you tell people that I owe you a tape?
That's what I was trying to tell. It was serious.
BC.
It was serious. And shout out to the people that actually videotape. I know when I was at Jackson State, James Weary and Bootsy Weary, is the whole Weary family. Their dad would tape all of us. So shout out to him. And when I was at Smith, Brother Robert Covington, I just found out his government name today, Mousy. Everybody at Smith knows Mousy. He KK Psi. But yeah, definitely Mousy. Shout out to him, because I told him, I was like, man, what's your real name? You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know his real name. But shout out to Mousy, and I hope you got that South Carolina State tape from '96, because South Carolina State, they took an L to Smith. I like to bring that up every week.
That's the only proof.
Yes.
Yes, taped or it didn't happen.
Yes.
Taped or it didn't happen.
So I had to throw that out there, but thank you all again. We back full strength. We usually talk about the most intriguing battle of the weekend, and I was trying to find the CIAA matchup with Fayetteville State and Virginia State. I was also interested in the SEAC championship, Tuskegee. Shout out to brother John Lennard. Shout out to your brother. We chopped it up with him. Y'all make sure y'all go check that out. Tuskegee played Fort Valley State, and Tuskegee won the SEAC, and Virginia State won the CIAA. So shout out to them. But I think probably the most popular from this weekend was the S and Texas Southern, but we've covered the SWAC already, and we covered them more probably in the Bayou next week. So we didn't want to, make Southern people think that, this was like they show or anything like that. So tonight, I wanted to talk to you guys about, are these band rankings and band polls, are they helping or are they hurting us? Now, I have got two sides, a lot of different opinions, so I definitely wanted to ask our band director, owner and founder of a business here, and the great, I can't think of another famous woman right now to call you Christy, but yes, we actually have some information and we want to discuss this, and the phone lines are open, so we definitely want to hear from all you band heads. We all know each other. Also, real quick, one of the Rogers brothers liked our show, and then I found him on Facebook, and every time I find somebody new in bands, they got like 30 or 40 mutual friends. I was just like, dang, like we all know each other. So like you said, we got. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I want to talk to you guys about that, and then again, if you are listening or watching at home, 888-909-1050. Call us and give us your take about these band polls, because I see the positive and I see the negatives, but I just want to put it out there because I think it's important for us to talk to. Lastly, before we go to our first break, I always try to bring attention to my t-shirt. This is the Sonic Boom Alumni Association t-shirt. This is an old one, but yeah, if you do not have an alumni association for your band, start one now. And get active with your alumni association, because that's also very, very important. We love our HBCUs, but we also got to make sure that when we graduate, we send our little $30 a year or however much it is. I don't even know how much it is for A&T. A&T probably like $500 a year, because y'all.
No. It's 50.
Okay, yeah, I'll just play it. But yeah, it's very, very important to be active in your organizations, even your Greek organizations. Shout out to the Brush. I can see it on there. All right. Yeah, just make sure you're active. I just got active last week, so that's probably why I'm bringing it up.
Last week, really?
No, not
really.
I see. That's what I get for trying to bring it up. But no, our fiscal year starts in November. So that's why, we got to make sure that November. But, yeah, just very, very important to the cause, so we don't have to send our teams to go to University of Washington for like $600,000 to get slayed just because we need the money. Let's make sure we support our schools, support everything we have. But, yes, definitely. I don't know, Rashad talked about starting 100 for Hampton. And just very, very important type of stuff. We need to make sure we circle our dollars around. So let's go ahead and go to our first break real quick, because I definitely want to get into this conversation tonight and see what you guys think about these band rankings. And centered around an article, The Undefeated from ESPN is putting out some rankings this year. But we've also seen them in other avenues and stuff, so I definitely want to get you guys' take on that. So, again, call in 888-909-1050, and we'll be right back after the break.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
This is Gregory Drain, Director of Athletic Bands at Penn State University, former marching Wildcat at Bethune-Cookman University, and you're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network. Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, you guys, we're back. You're listening to Ball and Parlay, which is like Tuskegee's. That's everything for them. And I'll just say right quick, if you have not had the true HBCU experience, definitely a Tuskegee football game where the whole crowd starts singing that under that big shed. I didn't know what that was. I was like, why the band under that thing like that? And then, brother,
so they can be heard.
Oh,
so they can what?
So they can be heard.
No, see, the shade of it all. The shade.
No, the truth of it all. But go ahead. It's still not helpful. But go ahead.
But yeah, I
can't give no more breaks.
I said like what? I was like, what is that? And so they had to break it down to me. But then someone sent me the video, and that's definitely a really cool experience. So really cool. Tonight I want to talk to you guys about band rankings and band polls. We have been exposed to them, I'm sure, all of our lives. But the one that made me like, what? Like that is the Undefeated. So like the Undefeated is like, I'm kind of careful about what I want to say Undefeated, but they are like enhancing the culture, if you will, of ESPN, or like the division of ESPN where they do a lot of in-depth conversations about minorities and African American community and blah, 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 blah. So they started doing HBCU coverage. And seems like a couple months ago, I reached out to the guy, Mark Spears, and I was like, hey, brother, how you doing? Marching Podcast, check us out. This is what we do. This is what we're about. And then months later, they started doing the bands. And now they have these rankings. So not saying that, they took, my information and ran with it. But, it just happened real fast. This stuff is happening real fast. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what's happening now is the Undefeated has a blog. I guess that's essentially what they are. And they're coming out with rankings this year. Okay? And the rankings will be from the bands that are from the SWAC and the MEAC. Next year, they're planning to do all of HBCUs. And they have put together a 9-person committee. And the committee judges and adjudicates the bands. And then at the end of like their timing, they say, okay, this was the band of the week, or this was the top band. And just like, power rankings and sports, they have the schools. So today was supposed to be a new release of a new band. Currently, A&T, they had as the #1 band. And previous to that, they had Bethune-Cookman as #1. But you guys can check out the Undefeated or Google Undefeated and bands. The title of the article is We Got the Beat, the HBCU band rankings Undefeated style. So you guys make sure you guys check that out. I sent it to you guys. I want to get what you guys think about it, because man, I'm like all over the place. Like 1 minute I'm one way, 1 minute I'm not. But I really want to hear what the experts have to say about this. So Rashad, I'll let you go first, man. How do you feel about this ranking system? And we'll get into polls in general, but I want to see what you thought about ESPN's the undefeateds part.
I just want to know why I didn't get the phone call to be on the group. That's what I want to know. I've been up here commenting on bands for years now. Let me go here and say some stuff. But I think it's really cool. I like the idea that ESPN is taking the band culture in HBCU serious. I mean, that's a really good thing, because overall across the board, band sometimes is treated like, you're the band nerds or something, or, we all know that everybody goes to the concession stand during halftime. A lot of people just don't appreciate the bands across the board, but when it comes to the show style bands, it's just a completely different element. And I love the more exposure that we can get, that we can show people that this is what we have going on, and this is a serious, legitimate art form that entertains people and helps kids get into college and betters their lives. I'm all for it. I'm very excited about the fact that you have people doing these type of things, and the fact that they have actually gone out and asked for people who are currently band directors. I noticed that they have a wide experience of a wide range of experiences. Like I noticed some of the band directors here have really only just recently started their college band programs, whereas other band directors have been around for quite a while. And then some other band directors were around for a while and then have since retired. So it seems that they have a pretty interesting mix of band directors that will be looking at this. So I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. I'm interested to see what they're going to come up with.
Okay. Man, see, I got something to say. Well, see, okay. All right, I'm going to let Christy and Bridget talk, because I know that the committee, that was like one of the questions I want to ask you about. There was one person on the committee, I was like, why is this person here? Or I didn't understand. They explained and they showed all the resume of all the other directors and whatnot. And then there's one particular person that does not have any HBCU experience, maybe. Or if they did, they didn't put it in the little bio that they have here. But I'll get into that. So, Bridget, what do you think about the Undefeateds blog here?
Okay, so I'm taking a look at it. I'm kind of strolling through it now. One of the most challenging things to do at this level is to really judge a college band, a collegiate band. First, because most band directors don't really set themselves up for that at this level. If you think about marching bands at this level, it's kind of the highest level you can go for marching bands in our country. Collegiate bands, besides military bands, is the highest level of band. But for HBCUs in particular, there's so much variety in style, so many schools of thoughts on arranging, marching, so many different components that it makes it kind of challenging to really kind of lump everybody in a group. However, as I look through the group of people that they have actually kind of a part of their panel, I have the highest respects for many of them. Juliette Boykins is an outstanding band director. Her experience is primarily high school. She's, I guess, recent to Elizabeth City, but as a high school director, I've had the opportunity to judge her bands on several occasions, and they're an outstanding. They really were an outstanding program under her leadership. Tamisha Brock, I'm just kind of getting to know her. I guess she's the new director at Clark Atlanta. Is she coming from Elizabeth City, Christy? Do you know?
Yeah, she was the head of at Elizabeth City, and then she went to Mississippi Valley State for a short little bit, and then she went to Clark.
Right, and so we have some directors who have a wealth of knowledge. Dr. Reginald McDonald, Dr. Julian White, and even the person, Dr. Linda Morehouse. She's an associate director from LSU's. She's an LSU director, and as I look at the criteria, do you really have to march our complete style to understand what we're doing? There are some aspects that I think we have to understand. However, there's some basic elements as I look at the criteria as far as auxiliary, musicality. I'm not sure how they're dividing them, or are they all just kind of talking about there is a balanced perspective that I think we need. So I think she adds a little bit of that balance for us. The hardest thing is most directors, and I've heard collegiate directors to say this, who's going to judge my band? Most of these people either I talk or they're my friends. And then a lot of directors come from a biased perspective. Who doesn't think they march for the greatest program in the world? You could have marched for a two-step-in junior college, and you're going to think two-step-in junior college is the greatest band in the land. So here I go. As a doctoral student, I think about the bias that comes along with being an adjudicator. Can we objectively look at another program and find quality, find rooms of improvement? But the other side of it is, can I accept that as a director, that, hey, maybe I'm not the greatest program and I may need some work in this area? That's a very fine line. I'm not sure if the HBCU culture is ready for serious critique and criticism. I'm going to tell you, the old school directors are not ready. The newer school may be well open to it. I think there's a learning curve that can happen as a result, but then there are some areas of where people don't want to change. So the polls, I have several, I'm kind of in between with the polls. I see the benefits of some of the polls, but then I kind of also go, well, is there going to be bias? Who are we looking at? The Undefeated, I haven't seen many of their polls, but as I look at some of the other ones, I'm like, I'm on somebody else's website. I'm like, every band here is a SWAC band. So there's a bias. Clearly, you're from Texas Southern or from somewhere there. And so none of the MEAC, SIAC, CIAA schools are represented. The style, you have to think about things like, does style impact how people feel, or size rather? Will size impact how people feel about band? So there's a lot of points to consider, but overall, the polls I think they're okay. People will have their opinions, and that's exactly what it is. It's just another opinion.
Christy, what you think?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Bridget and Rashad had to say. I have to be honest, when the Undefeated first started coming out and talking about HBCU bands, I kind of shrugged it off, and then when they started doing the polls, I was like, oh boy, I wanted to hate on it. I really wanted to hate on it. But then I went and I did a little bit of reading on the site and looking at the people who were judging it. And I thought that they really did a good job. Don P. Roberts did a good job picking the people, the directors and whatnot that were on the panel. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that there were people of different ages. So, Tamisha Brock is on the younger end, and the lady that is the director of Elizabeth City now. You have a mix of retired people that's been in it for a long time, and people who are, I don't want to say fresh new band directors, but on the younger end, which I think is important. I think the group is diverse, and I actually don't mind the one woman, Dr. Morehouse, even though she is at a PWI. It really doesn't bother me, because I feel like you do need to have a little bit of mix and diversity. The only thing that I wish they would have done on the panel is to actually add a band head, because I don't want the panel to get too academic that it's missing some of the magic that Joe Bandhead brings to the table. Why are you laughing at me, Rashad? I'm being clear.
No, I said you want just a little bit of ignorance, just a little bit.
Well, no, I'm not saying ignorance, but I do think that the average bandhead to be considered. I mean, I like the diversity. So, polls are good when they work in your favor. I think about
bias.
I think about the Princeton Review. So the Princeton Review, they rank colleges, and I think they do high schools too, but I know that they do colleges. And everybody wants to be on that Princeton Princeton Review list, when they get the top, best quality of life, they want to be on the top of that poll. But then when the best party school comes out, no school wants to be on that. Like, they don't want to be known as a party school. So I feel like polls are what you make of them. Like, when they're in your favor, they're awesome. When they're not in your favor, they're not. So, I am really interested in seeing how they progress throughout the year. I just wish they had like a. Actually, I'd be fine. And I know that the four of us talk all the time, but it doesn't have to be me. But I feel like if one of us would be on it, I feel like it would give a little bit of it would give it a little bit more gravity, a little more weight. But other than that, I'm interested to see what they're going to be bringing.
Yeah, I like all of what you guys said, and then we got a call. I think John is on the phone, but the opposite side of that is that when I started the podcast, I wanted to have some type of, and I actually did a show. It's called Implementing a Win-Loss System for college bands. And I was tired of people saying, oh, man, y'all got Crook on. You know what I'm saying? We beat y'all. No, we beat y'all. So it's like, we need to figure out a way to decide this. And so it's like maybe we come up with something. And I know that other people have tried to do this. We talked about the article on Block Us Up a couple years ago where he did, just last year where he did the Honda and he made up his own scoring system. So I appreciate that to maybe say, hey, this guy won or this band won or this band lost. But the other side I don't like is that I actually talked to some more people when I started the podcast, and this guy Tim Hinton, who's actually on the Marching Roundtable, he was saying that the spirit of college bands are to support the team or to support your school. So it's okay to have that dialogue to say, oh, this band won or this band didn't, but not actually to come up with a win-loss thing. And that might be a little bit more for like DCI or maybe Drum and Bugle Corps or something like that. But the spirit of college marching bands would be actually to support your school. And then the other part that I thought about was that, I don't know. I know I talked to a couple of directors and they said that they did not want to be a part of this. And they felt that it was kind of setting up. It was like ESPN or the Undefeated really not knowing specifically what they're doing. And this, I think, goes to you guys' point that maybe they should have had like a band head or someone who actually knew what they were talking about on there. Not saying the directors didn't, but this might be a little bit too academic where you putting this scoring system in there and you're not actually exposing the world to the craft. Maybe like what we do, maybe our dialogue here, maybe our opinions about, like Bridget doesn't like Crank. You know what I'm saying? Exposing the world to more of that conversation. And then it's like, okay, well, I understand that this is HBCU style, but then this opens the thing up to me again. Is this show style or is this really the marching arts? Like, do HBCU bands fit into this mold where we're show style, but it's really a traditional marching style where Ohio University also does the same thing maybe as Jackson State does? So how come maybe some of those bands aren't in there? Or maybe if you put Dr. Morehouse in there, how come you don't have another director in there? I feel like, I don't know. I'm excited to get the exposure for the schools, but something in me, I get in my gut is like that they're trying to, I don't know. Like it's not all that genuine as it comes across. That's kind of what I'm saying. Let me get to John real quick. Is John? John, what's up? What's going on, John? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing all right,
man. Hey.
It's the leader, head band director at Tuskegee.
Right now, but yeah, my first Monday off, kind of.
Oh, nice. Well, congratulations for winning the SIAC and your band. Always love Tuskegee, love what you do. So what do you think about the band rankings or just band polls in general? Do you think that they're helping or hurting the craft?
It's ironic. John Skipper, the president of ESPN, was literally in my office at May because he spoke at Tuskegee's graduation. And I don't know if y'all saw the video, but he wanted us to do this little thing with ball and parlay, so he was all excited. And he literally told me, he started talking about this undefeated thing and how they were going to rank the bands. And I really didn't, press him on it, to see specifically how they were going to set up the judging or the panel or whatever. So, I mean, I had no clue how they were going to do it. And I really honestly haven't followed it so much. I think I saw the first ranking. And I think like many of your points that you mentioned are all valid. In one sense, I think it's great because, it does recognize our craft or recognizes our culture as HBCU bands. I'm always one to kind of complain about the fact that, we don't have a BET like back when we were kids, when you could see every HBCU or at least be exposed to every HBCU, even if you're not going to just be in the band, but just to be exposed to these different HBCUs. I watched, every weekend. I had to go to an HBCU because of BET. We don't have that. So anything that we can get to expose, Black college culture to the country is great. On the other hand, it's I think like you've been talking about, well, what exactly are you looking for? What exactly is this panel looking for? What are they watching? What video are they watching? You obviously can't make it to all of the games. Are you watching halftime shows? Are you watching one specific halftime show? Are you watching this one time that this band cranked on this other band or this one great arrangement as opposed to, they play one great arrangement and the rest of the arrangements were like, So, I guess as a band director, you take it as a grain of salt. Me as a band director, I always would want my band to be in that conversation, but at the same time, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a great incentive for the kids, to try to get there or try to be relevant on that list or whatever. But at the same time, like I said, I don't think any band directors are losing any sleep over it because it's really subjective on the panel, and like you say, the panel seems diverse, but you could always have more diversity. It's opinion based, and it's even harder to judge that than even to judge like football. You know what I'm saying? Because at least they have wins and losses.
Right.
So I guess that's my perspective of it.
Yeah, and like you said, that diversity, it's like, when is it like so much opinion or when is it validated? That's why I think Rashad and I have done well, and I was happy when he joined the show because he'll say, well, Morgan State came and they played B flat in the song. Maybe you should try your thirds and try to stuff that I couldn't even be talking about. So I think that adds some validation to it, but I'm not sure exactly what the Undefeated is going for. Their criteria they have in the blog is that they're going to be judging the drum majors, drill and design, musicality, which right there, that musicality part could be a long range of things. Percussion.
Absolutely. I heard the word crank a few seconds ago, so that kills musicality. Everybody has a different view of musicality. So
right. Percussion.
I think there's a standard criteria of musicality across the board, but guess me tell you, in the HBCU world, they threw that word cranking and all that went out the window. So keep on going, Joe.
And then I talked to Tamisha Brock, and she said that it's fun, and they do have strict rubrics that they're following, and it's fair, and the rubrics that they're using is not too much room for bias. But she thinks
Joe, let me tell you. Well, let me tell you about the rubrics one. I have a couple things on this. All right, so from a band director perspective, there's two things that I'm looking at. Yeah, I see some diversity. One of my issues is if you look at the list of directors: Elizabeth City, Clark Atlanta, Texas Southern, Albany, Tennessee, LSU, Florida A&M. What do you notice? Every single person on the panel is from the South. We don't even have anybody from Virginia. The closest to Virginia is Juliet Boykins because she was in Virginia for a while, but every single director is from the South. And then we're talking about rubrics. Come on now, we know rubrics how do we know it's a validated rubric? You know, what's the criteria? Well, how was it kind of measured? That's the kind of thing that kind of throws me off. So who created the rubric? Mm-hmm. Where'd you get it from? What standard are you using? Are you using something from a high school band festival? Are you using Bands of America? Where did the rubric come from? So there is going to be some level of bias. If you're just kind of talking and giving your opinion, I can almost go with that better than the rubrics, because rubrics aren't really a true indicator for the directors. That really kind of throws me off, those two things.
So that actually rolls into my next question then. Do you guys think that we should start talking about traditional bands? If we're talking about marching bands and marching arts and all this stuff like that, is this specifically to HBCUs? Well, we know it's not. So in our conversation, and even in this blog, should they be talking about your Stanfords or the bands like Wisconsin? I've seen Wisconsin, march traditional and all that. Are we starting to create this box where we're talking about black schools and show style or shookin' and jiving? You know what I'm saying? Please, somebody tell me.
Let me just say this. You use Stanford as an example. Stanford is a scramble band, and the way that Bridget feels about Crank, that's how I feel about scramble bands. So let me just put that out there. I cannot. I will not, and I cannot. Go ahead.
I love Stanford, by the way. Sorry, Christy.
Do you really?
I love their like free. I guess I love their free will, free spirit. I mean, I'd never, but I love them.
Okay. Well, see, I think it's funny because you and I go way back, and I know that's how you roll, and we just have to agree to disagree on that because. Yeah, I don't think scramble bands are musical, but yeah. But anyway.
Hey, Joe, I was going to say one more thing. There's this other thing. In the HBCU culture, we do not value anyone who has not proven themselves in the field. Mm-hmm. That's just the culture of HBCU. I'm not saying that I agree with it, but if your name isn't there, you haven't been in the field for some time, then everybody throws out your opinion. So you have to think about that's going to happen for several of the people on this panel. For example, Texas Southern, they got this whole thing with they got a new director coming. Everybody, who's this? What has he done? How has he ever been an HBCU director? That's the nature of the beast, especially that old school generation. If you haven't, quote, proven yourself in the field. So I have much respect for Juliet and Tamisha Brock. I have much respect for them. But to be honest, if they haven't, it's not viewed that they've proven themselves in the field, their opinions are not going to be really validated. I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm just telling you that's the culture of the HBCU world. Mm-hmm. Someone like Reginald McDonald, Julian White, they will eat their opinion up because they've been in the field. It's not even a male or female thing, but they've been in the field for a while. Right. So their opinions will be highly valued. However, for those names that are not as kind of noted, they're not going to get that same level of respect.
Mm-hmm. That was my concern as well. Joe, were you ready to get into the traditional versus show style?
Well, sorry. Yeah, that was no. It was kind of the same conversation, just because if this is highlighting the craft, if you will, mm-hmm. do we need to then include other bands? Because it really is a traditional thing versus core style. But what I'm worried about is that I'm looking at the clock. We got to go to our second break. What I'm worried about is that we're starting to put our bands, our HBCU bands, in a box. And then basically, because part of me was like, well, how come they're not judging all the bands like across the board? Like, even when we talked to the guy that was doing the National Marching Band Championships, a lot of people asked me, it was like, well, how come the HBCUs have their own day to compete? How come it's just not all the college marching bands competing? There's all the bands that are traditional and all the bands that are core. How come that there's an HBCU night and there's like a University of Texas night? So we'll come back to that. I want to kind of get your opinions about that, and I want to ask you guys one more question about this. But we'll go to hear our second break, and then we'll be right back here with the 90 Degree Show.
Your host Joe Beard and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello,
Hello, this is Christine Nayo-Katzman, CEO and publisher of Halftime Magazine, and you are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high-quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t-shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event, but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
The Marching Podcast Network is a network of podcasts with a purpose to inspire, educate, and show positive images in our community. Our network produces podcasts about college marching bands, business, health, finances, college preparation, spirituality, instrumentation development, along with one-on-one interviews with strong role models in our community. Looking for a podcast network that educates and inspires to make our world a better place? Then listen to us. Check out our website at themarchingpodcast.com. Tweet us at Marching Podcast or follow our blog at blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. The Marching Podcast, changing the world through positive interaction.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, y'all, we're back. That is Virginia State University, the CIAA champions. So we had the SWAC, or the SIAC champions in the first, and now Virginia State. So congratulations to them. So yeah, just continuing the conversation. I think it's good you guys all highlighted the positives, but I don't know. I guess I'm still not sold on everything. One thing I did not like about the polls, just regular polls, like for instance the poll that HBCU Sports does, it definitely seemed a whole lot biased. They would post the video on their blog and they'd be like, "Hey, who do you think won the halftime?" And then you basically can get on there 400 times and vote for your school. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would really. Oh, go ahead, Christy.
Let me just say that HBCU Sports, the person who runs that is Ken Rashad, who ran the SWAC page. So it's basically the SWAC page, and they changed their name and they rebranded, and they opened themselves to all HBCUs. But I guess you could say it has a heavily SWAC lean, which is not bad, but it is what it is. They used to say fifth quarter has a heavy MEAC lean, so it is what it is. So just to give you some context there.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I still think it's whack.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? I still think it's where it's like you can be like, "Hey, man, let's send out an email to the entire alumni association. Make sure you guys vote." And then that's kind of where I'm going to, the whole validity of this thing. Like, is it actually helping our bands or is it not? Or is it based on, like you say, who actually showing up to vote? Is it all
isn't that exactly what they're combating here? That if anybody can vote and things can be lopsided exactly the way that you're talking about, isn't that exactly what the undefeated is trying to go against? Yes. Instead of having unlimited people voting as many times as they want, you have a panel of experts, and you have a very diverse panel of experts that's deciding, here's who we think is the best. It's not they're not judging them, I would per se. This is not like that big band competition that you were just talking about again, where you're actually getting down, adjudicating them and saying, this is what you did right, this is what you did wrong, this is how you can get better. This is just a panel of experts saying, this is what we like the best. So I think this is the best way to fix that problem that you were just talking about, Joe.
Bet. So we agree there. But then it goes to what Bridget was talking about, and specifically how we're doing that. how does the panel get selected? What are
it's always going to be some measure of bias. There's always you can't take that out of it. That's just a natural part of, even in science, there's always some type of a bias, but you have to acknowledge what your biases are so that the audience can be very well aware. That's a part of research. Like anything that's opinionated is a part of bias. So you can't get rid of the bias, but you have to acknowledge and you have to understand that you have a bias. I have a bias towards Morgan State, MEAC, certain sounds. I absolutely do have a bias, but you have to be willing to acknowledge that and understand there's also different ways of knowing.
Right. And I think that, this panel here, I think it's going to be the way to deal with bias is to have a balance. So on either end, you have Lawrence Jackson, band director at Southern University. You couldn't have anybody more different than him than Dr. Julian White, who was the band director at FAM. When you're talking about polarities, there's not two bands that are more different than FAMU and Southern. Now, at Block Band, in our arranging, we tend to qualify arranging styles under 3 styles. So we call it the Southwest style, which is what you think of as your swacking, your cranking and things. The Southeast style, which is more of your Bethune-Cookmans, your FAMUs. But there's also a North style. And the North styles are more known for very technical playing. They play a little more intense than the Southeast, but not quite as intense as the Southwest. And I think that you have good representation from that group as well, because again, you have Dr. Reginald McDonald coming from Tennessee State. We, with Block Band, we do consider that the North. We consider
Tennessee State's not the North, Rashard. That's not even anywhere close to it.
No. When you're talking about show style where all the bands are in the South, then yeah, pretty much that's part of the South. That's part of the South.
Every band on that list, every director on that list,
part of the North style. Now, you mentioned Juliette Borkins a second ago, and you mentioned that most of her experience comes from high school. And when she was in high school, she is a native of Virginia. And she did many more years in Virginia. And I'm not sure if she won. I think she might have won High Stepping Nationals twice.
Actually more than that. She's won it more times than that. But let me ask you a question. Do you consider Virginia a northern state?
When you're talking about the Mason-Dixon line?
wait, are you guys talking about geographic?
That's Pennsylvania.
Right. Because
that's Maryland, Pennsylvania. But what I'm talking about, if you're talking about this Southeast style, all this,
right, the arranging.
When people think about Norfolk and they think about the schools kind of further down from Virginia down, they're considering it more of a Southern style. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily the arranging style. Some of the arranging style is even very similar to those bands there. The MEAC have a very distinct sound. SWAC has a different sound. They have different sounds in there. But I don't think there's, even in that, I don't even think there's fair representation. If you go with your criteria for sound, I don't think there's fair representation on that as well.
Bridget, what's a up north sound? I'm just curious to know
I understand this. I don't agree with that concept. And Rashard and I have had it out last season about that. I don't agree with that concept at all. And so that's what his company kind of dictates as a north sound. I'm talking about the region and the area is what I'm looking at of the people where they're coming from. So everyone there marched in programs from Norfolk all the way down to Tennessee, wherever.
You're saying nobody's from Maryland. Is all you. Nobody's from Maryland or Bowie. Nobody went to Miles.
Can I tell you this? Not only that. There's more. There are many more schools that are in different regions. So I even think about the side. Let's go to the Ohio side. No one's from that side. That Midwest. No one's from the North. So it is not a wide variety of people from different ranges. And let me tell you, when you're checking for bands, nobody checks for bands in those areas. Let's be honest. If it's not Virginia and down, nobody checks for them. And we have to be honest about that bias. There is a bias towards that. And it's because most of the directors come from bands in the South. And if your band director is not a Southern band director, nobody's going to check for your band. For instance, Melvin Miles is an outstanding band director, but he's a Northern guy. He didn't march in the South. He didn't play in the South. So nobody checks for him because he's not from that culture. And we have that bias within the HBCU world. Where does your band director come from? I don't care if they come from Southern, they come from FAMU, they come from certain places, and people are like, oh, okay. There's a different level of respect and even camaraderie there. We have to own that. That is the truth.
It comes from established programs.
Well, hold on, y'all. I'm looking at the clock, And
Go ahead.
We already almost out of time again. I guess we definitely need to
ladies,
continue.
we need more time.
I know we definitely can continue the conversation because I like where we're going, but it's kind of going back to what we talked about as far as the band being ambassador for the school. We definitely need to come up with more analytics because maybe there should be more of like a style interpretation that we're talking to. So I guess more, like Bridget said, science into this will probably make me feel better because maybe it's too much of a blanket and a lot of what we're talking about when we're just saying band rankings and all that. It was supposed to be a release today, but I didn't see it. But currently, A&T is like the #1 band. And you guys, if you're listening, go ahead and make sure you check out the Undefeateds. We Got the Beat and going into the styles and rankings, and you can see the particular all of the people, the 9 people on the committee. Real quick,
I'm sure the Norfolk people would disagree with that.
Real quick, I guess 10 seconds each for each one of y'all. Anything closing, Christy, in closing?
Well, no, I think I enjoyed listening to Bridget and Rashad fuss at each other. So.
Yeah, we'll continue. We have got to continue this.